morning and welcome to the Super Lessons F1 podcast. My name's Rodney.
And my name is Zach.
Mate, really good to be talking to you. How you going?
Really good. We were just mucking around with our audio setup pre-chat, and I haven't heard the intro music pre-show introed that way in many a recording now. And you said, let me just play it because I think you got it working, get you into the vibes. And you know what? You were right. I'm in the vibes.
I'm glad.
I'm in the real vibes. What about you?
I'm doing okay. I'm just coping with the big loss. Obviously, the world has a big loss. Are you phoning in from the queue at the moment? How's the queue going?
I saw the queue. I did see the queue. Right?
What do you mean you saw the queue? You sound like it's moving around the city
queue.
Or something. What do you mean you saw it?
It is moving around the city. You know this, right? The queue was 17 hours long and like 6 miles long.
I know it was long.
Point, right? So it ran along the Thames.
Okay.
So I was in that vicinity and I was like, let's wander over.
Running along the Thames, as you do.
No, I wasn't. I do sometimes do that. But I was just in the area having dinner and drinks, friends, and I was like, wow, we're in the vicinity of the queue. We should go have a look.
Let's go check out the queue, everyone.
Yeah. So I did. Yeah, and took a little video and sent it to my mum. It was moving quicker than I expected, but I think that's because it's quite spread out. That was at Tower Bridge, so I had the Tower Bridge in the background, and then the queue running along the Thames there, snaking along the Thames, as it were. We were making judgment calls about whether people looked prepared or not. Some people had backpacks and bags with, shopping from M&S, and other people just with themselves. And I was like, what are you going to eat or drink or do for fun?
You chose poorly.
So, not for me. Thanks, mate. I remember somebody tweeted that was like, it would have been faster at this point to drive the Queen past the queue. So everyone gets in the queue, and then you just drive the box past everyone. That would have been way easier. So
look, it's a fair and equitable system. That's all I can say.
I just love a queue.
Actually, why even queue at that point? Why not just drive around all the streets until you've just like turned all of the routes? You've just driven at least one stand
driven
in the
every
street.
seat.
People could
a bit like
stand
a
at the
Google
front
Maps
clap
car.
if they want. A bit like we were doing for the healthcare workers and stuff.
Yeah. I don't really understand why they didn't just look. And this is going to sound facetious and maybe somewhat cynical. Just make a few versions of the box and send them out and about.
That wasn't what I thought you were going to say, but that's great.
Make people think that they've seen it, but maybe they haven't
Here's
seen
another idea. Let's make like some kind of a physical monument that people could visit anytime they want. Why are we cramming it all in now? Like that's. I mean, I'm just saying it's a few weeks have passed now, and it's.
It's what they say about feedback. It's got to be timely and specific. And if you had something to say to her, you wanted to do it at that moment.
You could have. Please don't mention any of this in your negative iTunes podcast reviews, please. Listeners.
No, this has nothing to do specifically with the Queen and her death and mourning appropriately.
I wasn't anywhere
the queue
near the area
and the situation of that. Okay, not and if you got in the queue, all power to you. I'm sure it meant something to you. I'm not talking about whether people mourn correctly or anything like that. I'm talking about purely the logistics. That is all. This is an operations joke.
Yeah, sure. Well, thanks for tuning in this week. We're not going to be talking about F1 races. We're going to be talking about Drive to Survive. Yes, that's right. That show that came out 10 months ago. We're still watching it, and we're up to episode 6.
It's so old.
So if you want to listen to us talk about it or watch along, you want to start queuing up on your Netflix. Episode 6, Drive to Survive, Season 4. Zach, what's the name of that episode?
A Point to Prove.
Point to Prove. I wondered whether one thing that we should do either this season or in future seasons is get to the end of the episode and have a go ourselves at a better title. Yeah, because we've been quite critical. Maybe we should just start the episode. We can continue this, but we've been quite critical of the titles for being like basic. They're basic. Let's just face it.
Okay. And I think you're right. Let's start the episode.
It would be a challenge that we do better.
Start workshopping a new title. Right? Okay, here we go. 3,
Zach's going to give us a countdown and hit play.
1, go.
Done. You should be playing right now. Done.
Yeah, if you're not playing right now, and it's really important that you get it exactly right because our commentary matches up perfectly to the action on the screen.
Yeah, you really won't understand either thing unless you're experiencing them both at the same time.
It never really occurred to me. Like, we're looking at Claire Williams here driving along on her way, and did she actually listen to the radio, or did they just talking about her company, or is it that she... And she turns the radio off there. It's like, did she turn it off because she didn't like what they were talking about? Or is that just B-roll of her like, all right, just when you turn the radio off when you're turning into your street because you need to concentrate? It's that.
I think what gives that away is her reaction. Because if they were filming her and a radio story came on that was about her, there is no way she would just like act that casual. She would be like, can you fucking believe it? What are the chances?
Someone's talking about Formula One on the radio. No one does that.
That's me. They're talking about me. They're talking about me on the radio. It's like trying to call everyone. Everyone listen, tune in now, tune in now. I worked with someone once who said that it was his girlfriend's birthday and he wanted to call her. I was like, well, you can call her as long as I get a chance to say hi too. And he went, yeah, okay. So he said hello. And then when I got to talk to her, I said, hi, just wanted to check something with you. I actually have a friend who works for a radio station and they do like, when it's someone's birthday, they do like a special hello on the radio. It's like a radio thing that they do. So you're probably familiar with, I said like Kiss FM or something. And I was like, if you want to hang on for a minute, I'll connect you with them and they can do a quick hello on the radio. What do you think? And she was like, yeah, okay. I mean, I'm at work, but okay. And then I just put her on hold, put the phone down and walked away for about 5 minutes, came back and went, yeah, I'm just joking. That wasn't a real thing. Sorry.
Oh, Rod. How did she take it?
Not well.
No.
She didn't see the funny side of it the way I did, but it was her birthday. So
does that happen a lot in your life, do you think?
Look, I am noticing a bit of a pattern now that you mention it. Anyway, Netflix. So we're watching Williams. Basically, we've just had in 20 seconds the complete history of Williams and some of the glory days and how Mr. Russell is driving for them this season. Yeah,
it's kind of the classic contrast montage, right? Or contrage, as I would call it.
Contrage.
Yeah, look how good things were, and now look how bad they are since George Russell appeared. No, basically, they're trying to be like, look, Claire Williams' dad, Frank Williams, did all this amazing stuff with the team, and now he's kind of not as involved as much, and since she's taken over, not as good. So perhaps she has a point to prove, which is the name of the episode.
You could say that. Yeah, you could say that. It really does work on not 2 levels, but more than one. It's a non-zero number of levels that it works on.
What description? Now, this just said edgy music playing when Jost Capito, who's the new CEO of Williams Racing, walked into his piece to camera. What would you want the subtitles to say for your music as you were walking
for
into
my walk-on music?
Yeah. Not the actual music, just the description of the music in the closed caption.
Yeah. So I'm walking on, music is playing, and the description of that music comes on screen and it says inappropriately sexy music. Like gratuitously inappropriately sexy music.
Gratuitously sexy music.
It's like, why did he pick this? This looks like horrifyingly inappropriate.
Oh, yeah. I think I'd want something
why didn't someone tell him? That would be all in the subtitles. Why didn't someone stop this?
I think spooky for me. Just spooky music plays. Just spooky. That plays with the imagination.
Cool. Which could also be the song, the Dusty Springfield. So it's
spooky music.
It's double meaning. Spooky could be the name of this episode.
You said that. I was listening to music today and someone had covered that song and I was like, oh, maybe it's not the cover of the song I'm thinking of because there's surely no song is called Spooky Music. But it was. And that was that song. That was mere hours ago. Crazy.
Wow. That's a spooky coincidence.
What would this guy know, this Capito fella, about Formula One? He's come from World Rally Championships. They do things completely differently.
Why you can read these subtitles as well as I can. Why are we talking about this?
Did you squeeze his balls?
Did you squeeze the driver's balls?
Okay, you've got balls, so go for it. Yeah, see, this was all about you got to be brave. And then you have to I like that. Distracting the issue they actually have is which is their car is crazy or the track is really dangerous, which it always is in rally, it seems. So you got to make sure you got to give people belief. It's Michael's magic juice, like you just got to, it was in you the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I approve, but, if it gets results, okay, sure, give it a go. Just the whole masculinization of things is like, it's not needed.
I don't think George Russell is a hugger. What do you think?
I mean, we are at peak COVID. We've seen numerous scenes now of people like bumping, like elbow bumps instead of hugs or whatever. So, I don't know. It might be a while before we stop seeing that.
No, but generally speaking, do you think if if you were introduced as the CEO of Williams Racing and George Russell was there and was like, hey, cool, so I'm your new boss, do you think George would be like, great to see you, man? Give you a big hug? Or do you think he would just be like, handshake? Let's say you've been friends with Russell for a long time, you haven't seen him in 5 years, and you see each other on the street. Is he giving you a hug?
No, I don't think so. I think he's from the Seinfeld school of hugging, like, no thanks. Like, good on you, but no thanks.
He's a marionette. The more I look at him, the more I'm like, are you someone's doll? Like, is someone manipulating you from behind the scenes?
I'm so excited right now. What buttons do I have to press within you to get you to say something even more provocative than George Russell has a punchable face? What dial do I have to turn to get you to say something worse than that?
He's like a ventriloquist dummy with that black lighting when he's just kind of like, it's just his like bust showing, like from the kind of chest up. He looks like he sits so still and he turns his whole body at once, never just his head. Like he's just like, and his jaw moves, but nothing else. He's a little marionette.
He's a single-minded person. I think that he thinks about one thing at a time, including how to move his body. That's why his whole body moves as if it's all stiff. But I mean, it's like a focus thing. It's like a superpower that he can turn on. He's incredibly focused.
I think he's just got a sculpted face. I think that's good. I like him. You know what?
You are all over the map today.
The standard thing of like, if I wanted to talk about Formula One to someone, I think George Russell would be very, very good to talk to about it. I think he would be engaged. Sure. I think he would be in depth. I think he'd want to have his opinions, but they would be reasonable.
That's it.
He seems good.
Yeah. Look, I'm saying like, look, if you said to me, Rod, something's come up, a new opportunity for me to do an F1 podcast with someone else. Unfortunately, I don't have time to do both. So from now on, it's going to be the Priest Russell Formula One hour. I wouldn't even be mad.
I think it would be called Rustling Some Feathers, an F1 podcast. It's not too big of a joke. It's just
how could you contain your hot takes about him while you're talking to him on the show? He'd just be talking. Couldn't be video. Like, boy, you talk a lot. When's my turn to talk? Like, I just keep like. It's like your eyes are not moving. It's like you haven't blinked for I don't even know how long.
Jensen Button is just at everything all the time, right? He must just host so much stuff. Like, why is he at the Williams Capito launch?
He's really Mr. Everywhere, isn't he? This is when they were trying to get him to be kind of like the Alain Prost at Renault. It was just like, remember this guy he like used to drive for us and did okay, and he's in our stable. And he's also like becoming an elder statesman of Formula One. A mentor, a marketing, draw card.
Guru.
And, has that deep lineage with the team.
Yeah. And now he just steps in for Martin Brundle.
Yeah. Well, that's okay too.
Well, I like him when he does that. I think he actually knows what he's talking about, which is quite good. This is the best ticket, right? Like if you're good at sport and also very personable, you're fine. Like, you're just going to have a nice career. Like, don't worry about it.
Yeah. People want really either of those. But the combo, forget about it.
It's a good combo. He says, Ted Buxton definitely says Formula One, not Formula One. He's like Formula One, Formula.
I knew when that sentence started there was going to be something to pay attention to. Will Buxton just said, ultimately in Formula One, the Drivers' Championship doesn't matter. Like, what? What are you talking about?
To the investors, Rod. To the investos. The vesties. They want the team winning, I think. I think that's bad from the team, but maybe it does mean something prize money-wise.
Of course that's what he's trying to get to.
Image rights-wise? I don't know.
It's okay to say, Formula, like the constructors pays the bills, and, the drivers is just to get the trophy. It's okay to say something like that. But to just say drivers doesn't matter, like that's just factually not right.
It's stupid. That's stupid. No, it's needless.
Here we go, graphic. It's like, let's enjoy this.
Short graphic. I was just going to say Daniel Ricciardo waved and said, hey, Netflix, when he was on a bike. I heard they're killing his character off next season.
Oh, no. Oh, that's it. I'm trying. I have all these hot takes. I'm trying to park them until there's an episode that's about him. Maybe the next one.
Daniel Ricciardo.
But just funny that you said those.
He was on the last
words.
episode.
Yeah. I mean, I'm getting the sense that this episode is it's like all a story without really much else going on. I mean, I suppose it may take a turn soon. We can get into the Ricciardo thing if you really want me to. Twist my arm.
Go on. Give me, you've been pretty quiet on the hot takes front. I would say you've been tepid at best on Ricciardo.
Daniel Ricciardo was the first character that we met when the show started. He is clearly one of the big characters. He won't be in Formula One next year. If you ran Drive to Survive and got to choose what the episodes were about, would you do an episode about Daniel Ricciardo's life outside of Formula One to keep the character alive within the show?
Like when,
I know why you're laughing. I'm being serious.
I know you are. This feels like when a character goes, like, can you have a spin-off series instead?
Well, that's the thing. He's making a spin-off series, right?
Straight up question. I think if you've got the long-term idea that you might want a Ricciardo spin-off series, yes, you need one episode that is about... Maybe you make it about drivers generally and what they're doing outside of F1, but you keep the character alive.
That's what I mean. But doesn't it open doors, right?
Yes,
doesn't it open doors? Can a driver leave and come back? Imagine capturing that moment. What does a driver do when he leaves Formula One? All of a sudden, I think that story is probably actually more interesting than following him while he's in Formula One right now. I think especially if he might come back, how are you going to handle that? Are you going to finish this next season and say, well, that's it. See you, Daniel. See you in 2 seasons' time. Or do you just follow him? What's to lose?
I like it. I think just follow him. And then
doesn't this series just need a new dynamic to it?
Yes, a new vignette to show off somehow.
Sure.
Yeah, I could see that. I think they've tried to as well by giving us more of the we've talked on this show before about could we have the day in the life of the engineer? Can we introduce more characters and more personas into the show that is not just team principals and drivers? You're saying yes. I like it. I have a different question for you. We just saw Jos Capito turn up in the garage at is this testing? Probably. And he was like, come on, team, let's do it. Go, go, go. Yeah. And they were like, yeah. Is he a David Brent character? Or is he more like Rob Schneider? Not Rob Schneider. That's not the right character. Rob Lowe, thank you, in Parks and Rec.
Rob Lowe.
Yeah. You don't hate him, but he's still too upbeat.
I know what you mean. Sure, yeah. Annoyingly upbeat.
Yes, but
regardless
probably
of what happens, he's going to react in an upbeat way.
Yeah. We'll try again next time.
Look, he's still in the honeymoon phase of running this team, so maybe give him some leeway on that.
Yeah, and he's got to put up with this horrible livery as well. Why did we put up with this livery? That was so yucky.
It's not great. I think we voted this the worst livery when we did our pre-season ranking of liveries.
But it's no good. Tell you what, I could do with some of that sun,
bland as bland can be.
But this doesn't seem like qualifying. This just seems
No, it looks like practice, doesn't it? Because there's no one around. There's no one in the grandstands.
There's no other teams.
Yeah.
Machinery whirring. I love that. It's just going on. It's just background diegetic noise. You wanted hot takes. Here's another hot take for you. I was at I won't say who, but I was at a wedding recently with a lot of Formula One people there. No, don't say. Yeah. Sitting across and surrounded by a bunch of Formula One people, Drive to Survive obviously came up. And the hot take from that, the big takeaway really was we all kind of agreed that Drive to Survive, when it started, it was for people like us. And now it's kind of not. Any reaction? This episode made me think of that because this feels like inside baseball, the stuff that people like us would actually really like. But these episodes get forgotten when you have the other, cartoony ones. I think that some seasons throw up more interesting things than others. And I think that maybe the first season was trying a little bit harder to be like, hey, this is welcome to Formula One. There's all this stuff you haven't seen. So we're going to show all of that. But that kind of set the baseline. And then there's this idea that Formula One change, and I think this show actually pushes it a little bit, that there's a huge amount of upheaval and change, race to race, story to story, season to season, when actually there kind of isn't. Like the teams that are at the front are kind of in the front for a while. The teams are pretty stable, even though drivers move in the market. You don't get very many new drivers every year, which means you don't get a lot of new team principals or characters. Everybody just kind of switches positions. And that's actually not that interesting. Like Otmar Safnauer going to Aston Martin, to go into Alpine. Where did he go? He went to Alpine, right? From Aston Martin.
Alpine.
It's not that interesting. Like, it's just the same guy in the paddock. Like, it's like, that's just people changing jobs in a very, very, very close, small pond. So I actually think that once you get that baseline of like, oh, okay, sponsors are important. This is what the paddock looks like. There's all these dynamics. The drivers talk to each other. They have lives. There's not much, like, it's like you've watched the documentary about how the sausage is made. So now you're like, cool, I know how sausages are made. And then you're like, what am I going to watch season 2 for? Well, we're making different sausages this season. Oh, okay. But fundamentally, it's the same, right? Yeah, but like, look at all these different ingredients we have to get. And like, there's new guys making the sausages. You're like, I mean, okay, but like, is there anything more to tell? It's like, no, other than the daily, drama of making the sausages, there's no new stories to tell. You're like,
what if something went wrong? Did it? No. But what if it did?
Yeah, look, we got a new grinder. So what we're talking about, you and I, about saying like we would like to see more stories from more people, that's asking for more than just sausages at that point. It's like, show me how the hamburgers are made.
Sure.
Show me
gotcha.
where those steaks come from, I think. So I don't know if it's gotten to the point where it's not made for us anymore. I think it's been made for everybody. I think that's why people go back and watch the first seasons, even though they're out of date now, is because they find the show finding what's interesting itself, trying to work that out. So, if the season hasn't got much to say, like, the season we're in, if Max Verstappen just like runs away with it, there's not probably going to be a huge amount of stories to tell. They'll be like Daniel Ricciardo and McLaren, that's one episode. What are you going to do? You can't make that 5-episode documentary series. So I imagine this season we'll see more of the like 32-minute episodes, and there'll be more of the like, here's an episode on this team, because there's 10 teams, so we did an episode on every team, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is kind of how it works out, right?
I think there's a degree of when the show started, it was a bit like, here's the behind-the-scenes stories about the racing that you know and love, or if you've never known it, we'll explain it to you. And I feel like now it's become a bit more of, here's the behind-the-scenes stories of a sport. Don't even worry about the races, though, because we're just going to tell you the story. And the story is more self-contained, where before it felt like it was complementary. Now it feels more like its own thing. That might be just a perspective shift that I have, but I don't know. It might be a real thing too. But I mean, I think more and more people, especially this season, were like, it's outrageous the stuff they've done this season, the way they've manipulated things. So I don't know.
I'm kind of hoping that when, like, for example, if I'm going to lay my hopes and dreams put my hope cards and dream cards on the table, I hope that next season we get a lot in Drive to Survive on like how tricky it was to design the new cars and how rough it was at testing, and like, oh god, we really fucked it up. Like a lot of maybe Mercedes stuff have been like, why can't you get it right? Like, why are we so slow? Kind of stuff from Toto. Like because the frontage was like, we're not going to be that competitive, but that's okay. We'll do our best. But behind the scenes, I wanted to be like, what is going on? Like, no, kind of shit. And I wonder if the teams have kind of globbed onto that a bit now, and they're like, no. Yeah. Formula One is one big family. We tell the stories that suit all of us, that make the sport really good and nice and great. So here's the accepted level of drama that we will have. I actually don't think we'll miss Max Verstappen in the next season, because it's like, he ran away with the championship, but there's nothing to learn. He was just really good, and the car was really good. So move on. The stories are going to be somewhere else.
That's kind of what I mean. And one of the reasons I think you're probably setting yourself up for disappointment there is that we watch the races and go, oh, those getting those cars right must have been so hard. I really hope they put that in the show. And it might be in the show for 5 minutes of one episode, but it's not going to be a big deal. I would put money on that. The next season, we're not going to have, a whole episode about the troubles and developing, from preseason to the
Will
first
Buxton
race,
describing,
whatever.
Like, hey, every 8 years, Formula One changes the formula. Yeah. Have you ever wondered where formula comes from? That's what
people
they
think,
changed
that the steering
formula.
wheel matters. They're completely wrong. The steering wheel does actually nothing.
And everything changes, It's where you really learn that the driver's only the final 10% on these teams. And it's why the Constructors' Championship is actually worth way more, because the cars are the things that really move the sport.
Yeah. Wonderful.
But anyway, to bring it back to this episode, like, really, it was Williams just being slow. And I wonder how Joss Capito felt when he was like, how bad could it be? And then they turn up and they're just like, wow.
Yeah.
Look at us getting overtaken endlessly.
I guess starting to understand.
And we know that, I mean, and now being from the future compared to this, we actually know that, that Russell's really good. He's a great driver. And he knew that too. And I believe him. Like when he's like, I just did the best I could and the car is hard to trust. It's difficult to race with. You know, he was pulling out qualifying times that were amazing. So, you know, given equality or equity almost, like George Russell's fantastic. And I reckon Capito sees... Capito? Yeah. Old mate Cop sees that too. And he's like...
JC.
Yeah, I just can't make... Like, how... Like, it must be frustrating to him too, to know that you're like, oh, I've got this really talented guy and there's really fuck all I can do to help him succeed. You know, because success for us is like maybe get a point or maybe get through into Q2. You know, and that's what he's saying now. It's like, if you don't have any success, you have 0 points last season, like everything sucks. Like, how do you pick people up like that? And I like his thinking here too. I remember watching this first time being like, yeah, I get that. Like, try to do things in different ways and see if they'll work. Mm-hmm. But Formula One is iterative, not... Like, I actually don't think really the gains are there. And it's the same for anybody who walks into a new industry, right? That like, you're like, well, have you thought about doing it backwards? And it's like, well, no, because we know that doesn't work because no one does it that way. So really what we need to do is maybe look at changing the front wing like by 0.5%. And that might have a small change that could actually maybe help us find half a second over a lap, you know?
Yeah.
Ugh.
But it's like that old like Franklin Auger joke of like the guy running the marathon who comes last and he's like, wow, I trained for 10 months and I could have not trained at all and still come last. It's not about where you finished. It's about what you're doing. And if you're doing the same thing and it's not working, then why are you still doing it?
Yeah. Yeah, and they're finding the wins, right? You know, you got through to Q3, amazing. And like... They're trying to make it work, you know, but they just there's not much to latch onto, and I don't think I could do that job. Kind of stepping in and being like,
"You don't think so?
Everything, man." I think I could walk in and be like, try literally anything else and see what happens. Like I think that would be
around
easy.
The table. Who's got any idea-doos?
Could we use 6 wheels instead of 4? Would that work? Are you allowed to do that?
Have you thought about going faster?
Yeah. Could we get shorter drivers? Because George is a tall boy. Like, oh, he's heavy. Could we get little guys in? That makes no sense, Joss. Winning is everything. It doesn't mean you need to be in the team that wins all the time, but it is everything. But it doesn't mean you need it, but it is what you need. What I'm trying to say is winning comes in lots of forms. Sometimes you can win by losing. Be the first winner, which makes you a loser.
Sometimes losing is winning.
Yeah. If done in the right way. So sometimes you've got to redefine what winning means.
How you lose.
Yeah, look through the telescope the other direction, see what you can see. The winners are the losers.
Mm-hmm. Hey, look, there's Daniel Ricciardo. Let's all talk about it.
Well, I like Sebastian Vettel being like, someone thought I was Daniel Ricciardo, and I was like, yep, I am.
So great. Being mistaken for someone noteworthy is like, that must be really good. Have you ever been mistaken for someone who's like, oh, you that? No, oh, no, sorry. You're not that reality TV winner.
No.
No?
My dad said I really look like Hamish from Hamish and Andy recently. I was like, do
you mean now?
Yeah.
Or did you always? I don't understand.
No, recently when he came in for the wedding in May, and he was like, I think
Okay.
you look like Hamish Blake. And I was like, okay. Right. I don't know. Though.
I mean, yeah.
And then I looked at Hamish
Blake
and I was like,
all
maybe. Right. I think I just look older than I am, maybe. So.
That's possible. I remember once being like just waiting for friends. I was on Chapel Street or something, just hanging around waiting for friends. And this woman kept walking past. She sort of walked past and looked at me, and then she sort of walked back the other way and looked at me again. And she sort of said something, and I was like, sorry, what? And she's sort of like, are you? And I was like, I don't know what. And she's like, oh, no, I'm meeting someone. And all I know is like, I had like really short cropped hair. She's like, all I know is he's bald and I'm meeting him here. I'm like, oh, well, sorry. Like if it was me, obviously I would have reacted. Yeah, I'm waiting for someone too. You must be you must be someone. And she'd be like, yeah, you are. But that didn't happen. So she knew immediately I wasn't that person. So that's the closest I have to someone being like, oh, sorry, are you? No one's ever said, you know, are you Hugh Jackman? No. Oh, sorry. No. You're Hugh Jackman. No. Jeez.
I introduced myself to someone that I'd met.
Jordan once. That's about it.
That I was like, I was waiting in a cafe one time to do some filming for a product launch, and the comms agency we were using, I'd met the guy before one time, and then I was waiting in the cafe. It'd been a few months since we'd seen each other in person, and I was waiting for him and his team to turn up, but I wasn't quite sure who was coming. And then he came. He was like, "Oh, you Zach? Hey Zach, how you going?" I was like, "Oh, hey mate, yeah, I'm just waiting for da da and da to come from." He's like, "That's me," and I was like,
"That's me." Yeah.
Hi. Sorry.
That's great. I remember one of my first jobs that I had. I was working in a kitchen, and they were like, "Don't worry, because this guy's going to come and help you." So this person was like. Rocking up once every 10 minutes just to be like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, oh, I guess I don't know. I'm waiting for someone to come. And he's like, that's me. I've come to see you 3 times already. I'm your help. I'm like, oh, I thought you were just walking past. I'm waiting for someone to come and like show me stuff.
Yeah. No, it seems like you know what you're doing. Keep chopping those.
You've got this under control. There's nothing to do. Keep doing it.
Keep doing that. You're not bleeding? Great.
Race day. It's
well, I did want to just make a comment on just how Darlington Council, Capital or whatever, turned up to do that staged meeting with Capital and be like, hey, so basically no one knows how to talk to the engineers and we need someone to be nice to them and work with them. We're going to have to make a move and we want your opinion. And he was just like, yeah, I mean, I know we suck, but... You know, what do you expect me to say? I just always imagine that, I think people think that maybe those meetings are really hard and, not good. But I don't imagine they are, because I think that it's pretty easy to explain why you're shit in Formula One. You're like, well, they've all got more money and they got it right. And, you can't really change it in a season. So, yeah, sorry, we fucked it. We went the wrong way. We zigged when we should have zagged.
We did that.
And maybe we can finish 14th sometimes. That's it.
People who are watching along with us are furious that we're not talking about how about 10 cars all just got wiped out. This was the most exciting. This is the most action in terms of,
but they watched it live.
Flying. Well, I know.
What the fuck happened is you all drove into each other.
The season is that we relive it.
Yeah, that's true.
It was pretty huge. I was going to say when they were lining up, wet track, and we know that someone has a point to prove, and a point would prove quite a lot.
Oh wait, she's not involved anymore. Yeah. So you're saying every single person in this episode has a point to prove?
Oh, look, I mean, they all have points to prove.
I've got a better name for this episode.
Okay.
Already. Do you want me to save it, or do you want to tell me now?
Do you want to? Well, I reckon when it finishes, you hit me.
Okay, I'm going to write it down before I forget.
Someone literally just said, okay, George, go race. Thanks, I hadn't thought of that.
Oh, shit. Which one's the go pedal again?
So I shouldn't slow down? Yeah.
You told me to look after the tyres.
Way to tell me how to suck eggs. Looking good for Williams for a point here. Let's just say that.
Yes. Do you think that Lance Stroll feels funny when his dad's cranes company picks up his car because he crashed it?
When you say feels funny, can you give me a little more information about what you mean? Ashamed.
Awkward.
Right.
Not ashamed, but a bit like...
It hits different.
Maybe you've had a few too many drinks, you fell down the stairs on the way out of the bar, and the cab that your dad drives has to turn. You couldn't get a regular cab, so you have to call your dad. You're a cab driver, Dad.
It's a bit like
pick
that.
Me up? But I'm at work. I know you are. Can you take me home?
I'm sorry that you crashed that multi-million-dollar car that my cranes paid for. Don't worry. I'll use my crane to pick it up. We get a family discount.
Take you away. This is the first overtake that Williams has ever made since 2018 or something. This is the first time.
There you go. There it was. Glorious. Or on the outside. It was good.
Haas and Williams occupy the same point in my brain for the last 3 years of Formula One, actually.
Yeah,
although one's cool and one's not. That's about the difference.
I guess so. One you want to do better. The other, it's fine.
Yeah.
Just keep pushing those buttons. Nothing says this situation is tense like a close-up of a jittery ankle.
Yeah, that would be me in any role where I had to be in the garage on the weekend. I would be jittery boy. Like they'd be like, "Who is that guy? He's wiggling both legs all the time." It'd be me.
Jittery Joe over here.
He gets through 4 stress balls every qualifying session.
Yeah, like everyone's feeling fine except that this fucking guy's stressing everyone out.
Jittery boy
with his stress.
Yeah, hook him up to a kinetic energy machine, generate enough for the grid.
Yeah, could do that.
Go defend. I said go defend. Go. Why are you defending? He's trying his best to defend. Oh, he's getting so much coaching. Don't forget to press the overtake button. Even though you've got no one to overtake, we want you to press the overtake button. Oh.
That's not what the button means.
Anyway. Delighted squealing. That's pretty good. That's a good...
George Russell and Oath.
Was this the episode as well that George was like, the race where George was like, I'll do anything to get Latifi points. You want me to teach him how to suck an egg? I'll teach him. What do you want? I'll suck his eggs. What do you need?
I think this is it. I think he's like, if you need to sacrifice me to save Nikki, do it. And they didn't have to.
So magnanimous. A mannequin would say that.
Well, it's almost like an empty gesture, really, because it's like, well, like, no, really, if it means getting him points, then just like do whatever you want to me. It's like, well, you're going to get points too. What? Just shut up.
Yeah, just shut up. God, we didn't need it. Okay, you're fine. Yeah. You're fine. There's no one left. There's only 10 drivers left anyway.
Yeah, exactly. There's 9 cars. The worst is going to happen, Nights.
Yeah. Latifi's got the ease of a rich boy that is just like, you're likable and fine. Like, pay driver. You think you're good. That suits me too. Like, you don't, just nothing. There's no feelings for Nicholas Latifi.
A while ago, there's nothing to not like about him, so I don't not like him. That's just it.
Yeah, exactly. There is a man who is more middle of the road. I would prefer people to elicit a response from me than nothing. I will forget him. Like in 10 years, you will not even be able to remember who was at Williams at the same time as George Russell.
We've floated this idea before, and I'm conscious also that our 10-year anniversary is coming up, that we rewatch the first race that we ever covered. And I was thinking the other day that if we did that, there would be heaps of names that are like, look at this guy, and here he is. Like, we're used to seeing him up the front, but here he is at the back. But there'd also be like half a dozen names that just completely gone. Just nowhere. Shall Peak? Shall who? Never heard of him.
No, but we had a song for him. So chic.
Shall Peak, so chic. Freak out.
Oh, I'm there for that. Sorry, George, it's like, he is emotional. I like this. This is when he's really personable and he breaks down. He's like, you know what, it's fucking hard.
This is too much emotion for one man.
Really?
This is too much emotion for one robot to handle.
Someone check his circuits.
He can't decide whether he wants to cry or laugh or smile or celebrate or be sad.
Yeah, that's the best.
Too much.
That's really good, though. That's real and raw.
Of course, yeah, that's good. Look, we jest. We jest about how he has a punchable face, how he doesn't know how to walk,
but he's
and how he looks like a robot, and how he's just too pristine to be human. We joke about all of these things, about how much we want ill to befall him, how much we want to just see like bad things happen. Like, no, but we're just joking. He's actually really nice, and we like him.
Yeah, you know what? And this is, I think, in my mind, one of the best attributes of a person. If you were both standing at the bar and you'd arrived at the bar first and the barman came up to him and said, all right, mate, are you next? And you know what? I think George Russell would go, no, he's first.
You're 100% right.
That's exactly what he would do.
He's about to keel over if he doesn't get a drink right this moment. I insist.
Let me buy the drinks.
Yes,
but even
right.
At making you think that I was first.
No, it's a good call, and I agree 100%. That's a very admirable thing.
And I would say thank you.
I would value that over so many other values. You know what that is? It's when you have an inner richness. A lot of Formula One is full of wealth and wealthy people, but not all of them have that inner richness.
They just need a driver called Williams out the team. That was tough too, though.
Yeah, the passing of Frank Williams and just generally the whole the whole team. Zach, you have a job to do. You know what it is.
Yeah.
Episode's finished. Time for you to hit me with something.
Okay. So my episode title is called Will They, Won't They? What do you think?
Yeah, unpack it that one extra step for me.
Because it's Williams.
Just will they, won't they?
Yeah, will they, won't they?
Will I am, will I won't. It's like
I will.
It's beyond dispute. It's better than
and the other option is one for the I think this is a step down, but my next one is where there's a will, there's a way. They're both will related,
sure.
but I think they're pretty good.
Good, yeah. I just feel like if you were going to have a third swing at that, maybe don't go with the will thing again. But
sure.
Beyond that, these are two solid efforts.
What about up in the Claire? Like air.
What about the Leclerc up there? I think that's a movie with George Clooney. Well, look.
What about just calling it No Point because they didn't have any until they got some?
Yeah, exactly. It does sound.
Do you have an alternative?
No. I knew you had one, so I just relaxed. I just eased through that.
Come on.
What about
you with on your feet? No net.
What about a point to prove? Is that good?
No. I think cap it off is better because it's Capito.
Something about capital. Exactly. Yes. To cap it off. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Can we pretend I said that?
Let me edit it. I'll range my annoying high-pitched voice down a bit to your...
I have a best episode name award here for just says to the guy that came up with the name to cap it off. And then, all eyes train on Zach. Is he going to take the prize or is he going to
I'm going to George Russell it and be like, whatever you need to do to get this prize.
And I'm going to Seinfeld it and say, no thanks.
No thanks. No, not me.
Well, look, they drove, we survived. That's another episode.
Pretty much.
Dusted. I hope that you got some value out of that, and we'll be back soon to talk about some races. I think is there a double header coming up? Do I have that right?
Let me have a look.
Can you pull up the schedule and resist the urge to visit Amazon to buy perfume?
I'm not getting an ad today. Oh, yeah, I'm getting Workday, faster, smarter decisions. Learn more from Workday. They sponsor one of the teams. Schedule, full schedule. All right. Where are we up to? They always do this interstitial thing. Yeah, we got Singapore Grand Prix, Grand Prix in a week and a bit. Not this weekend, but the next. And then we get a little 1 week break and we go to Japan. And then we go back to the Pro Championship event. Nope, so that's esports. I don't like that they put the esports in this calendar too. It's very tricksy. So we're going week off, week on, week off, week on at this point. We might even get a couple of weeks between Japan and the US, and then we get triple header. No, we don't. Tricked again by the Pro Championship event, esports. Fuck you, schedule. Fuck you. Anyway,
for some reason, I was thinking, Singapore Grand Prix. That'll be a good time for me. It starts at the normal time. What's that all about? That's not good.
What time for you? Midnight?
It's 11 p.m. out my time, which is normal European time.
No, that can't be right.
It might be on after dinner, might be an early night for Rod, but no.
But it's on at 8 o'clock for me.
Okay. Daylight savings time, maybe?
These times displayed are track times. That's not my local time then.
My trusty F1 calendar that has literally never let me down in 5 years. Never once has it been.
No, it is. It's on at 1 p.m. my time.
For your local time, Rod.
Yeah.
Every single time.
It's on
and it says 11 p.m. my time.
Yeah, it's on at the right time for me as well.
There you go.
1 p.m. So
not impressed. Singapore lift.
Not good for you. We should just go. It's on in a week.
I meant to call it out too. I missed it when we recorded, and I missed it the first 2 times that I re-listened back to last episode. But you, under your breath, said, and you've been talking about this for all year, I should just go to Singapore. Like, it's in a few weeks, dude. But it's like, you were just talking about something, and then you're like, then there's Singapore, I should go to Singapore. And then I missed it, but I did hear it back.
Well, on my trip to Melbourne this year, I'll be stopping off in Singapore for a night and then 3 nights on the way back. I actually am, but there'll be no racing. I will continue my trend of visiting places where there is races, but not when there is racing.
Calendar, the full calendar. I don't know what you had planned next year, but cancel it because the full calendar's come out. 24 races next year. Australia no longer the opening race. Now? We're now it came out today. We are now the third race after Bahrain and the other race that has no name.
How do I get this? Let's do this on the podcast.
Go to the superlicense.com. No, go to the Superlicense F1 Twitter. The last thing posted is all of the races. 24 big ones.
Okay, I got it. So Bahrain, that means we'll do testing there beforehand. Then we go straight to Saudi Arabia 2 weeks later. So people will go home. Even though it makes it look like the sport will just stay in that area, it'll be worse for the environment because they'll send everything back to the UK and Europe, and then they'll fly it all back out a week later. And then off to Oz for race 3. That's not too bad. I mean, anything new on here that we're like, how many races are there? 23?
I can give you some of the 24 highlights. Obviously, we're back to Miami to see that stupid fake harbour. So that's happening. Las Vegas, Lost Wages. That's a new one.
Oh, Lost Wages, yeah.
Yeah, Qatar also happening. So these are the sort of,
also, I'm mistaken. I said they'd be doing practice in Bahrain. They'll probably do testing at Abu Dhabi, which is back to being the last race of the season. Maybe that was true last year too. No, maybe it was. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Cool. China's back on the agenda.
It was. Las Vegas on the agenda with an asterisk, and the asterisk says subject to FIA's circuit homologation, which means they need to confirm that it's like up to scratch. But they
need to heat the circuit up to 60 degrees to kill off any bacteria, and then it works.
Yeah. You don't want to gamble with Las Vegas. That's got to be a sure thing.
Qatar? Do we always race in Qatar?
Feels new to me.
Feels new as well. Everyone there has to have them. That's the thing. You've got to have a race there. That feels new to me. Did we race there this year? No. I don't remember racing in Qatar.
Well, I've got the shares right here.
No. We didn't race in there.
No, I'm not seeing it.
That's new.
Must be new.
That feels new too. So we got Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Azerbaijan, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi. We're hitting... If you're an oil state, you got a Formula One race, my friend. Good for you. Nobody else, though. Only US races.
Yeah. Not great for anyone else. Anyway.
Just 2 in the US, though.
Since we're talking, races, that was a noteworthy thing.
Maybe this year I'm just going to take the second half of May off. And I'm going to go to Imola and Monaco because why not?
Why not? Right off May. Weekends. Go to Miami, or
I do like Miami.
Miami.
Me. Oh, okay.
Miami.
So which races are you going to go to when you're looking at this calendar? Which ones do you want to line up with?
Which races am I going to go to? Well, I'd say Australia.
You're not allowed to go to Zandvoort.
Australia's probably top of the likelihood. Top of the pile.
I like it. Good.
Singapore's probably the next likely one.
Cool. Let's start organising that now. September 17th.
Is this a wish list or is this going to happen?
No, going to happen. I'm going to try.
The thing is, I've done the Singapore one. So maybe
you have done Singapore. Japan next. Then
there's Japan.
It's not on when I'm there. I'm going to be in Japan in May, but not in.
Ooh.
Damn it!
Was literally just reaching out to some good mates in the USA. I was going to say, need a reason to go to the USA.
Austin. You could take...
you've got 3 chances. You've got to hit one of them.
Oh, wait, there are 3 races there, is there? What's the other one? Oh, Miami. There's 3 races in the US. I said there wasn't, but there is.
Lost Wages. Yeah. And then, Canada is still on the list to do one day. There's a lot of wishes happening on this list.
Montreal would be good. Let's do that. We'll meet in Montreal.
Montreal.
Sounds like a movie. Meet in Montreal.
At midnight. I'll be wearing something.
Your best race colours.
Yes, my best race colours. I won't forget. I'll be the one carrying a cardboard cut out of Daniel Ricciardo.
Oh no, we both came as Daniel Ricciardo.
Oh no, one of us has to go home and change. It's a long flight back.
All right. Well, I've had enough now.
Wait a second. Just noticed on Twitter, trending Trump meltdown. This is for my investigation after the show. So until next time.
He melted?
You want to make sure you can visit the website, superlicense.fm. Make sure you leave us a review if you can do that, where you listen and feel like it. If you think good things, if you think bad things, then we don't even do a podcast. What are you talking about?
If you feel differently about the Queen, don't write in your review. Just leave it.
I'm saying, follow us on Twitter at Superlicense. Check out the Discord if you like. There's links everywhere. Actually, there's a link on their website. That website is superlicense.fm. Zach, the FM stands for?
Formula Men.
There you go. And what else do you want to do? Oh, support the Patreon. Thank you all the Patreon supporters who get all the episodes early, up to a day early, before everybody else. So if you were listening to this now and thinking, man, this is okay, but I wish I'd listened to it yesterday, you could have if you backed us on Patreon. So consider that if you can. If you can't, all good ski. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, we did this for each other and for you. So if you can't afford it, it's cool, man. We'll keep doing them. Don't worry about it.
Exactly.
We'll just get less effort. No.
We'll be back talking about races before you even know it. In the meantime, you might want to check out #Trump Meltdown and see what that's all about. Otherwise, my name's been Rod.
My name's been Zach.
See you at the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, yeah.